I was talking to this guy, right? And he was telling me that he feels like his girlfriend is emotionally immature. Okay. And I was like, oh, okay. Because he was saying to me that he really loves this person and they're having some awful issues. And she's a Scorpio and he is a Pisces. It's water. A Pisces guy, Scorpio woman. But they're young, okay? I think he said that, well, she's young, put it like that. He's older. She is 20, I think he said 24, somewhere around 24. And he is in his late 30s. He's 36, okay? And he said to me that he doesn't have a problem with her age. He, that's not a big deal to him. It comes up with her sometimes, but not really too much with him. And he said to me that he feels like she's emotionally immature. And I said to him, if a woman is that much younger than you, not all the time, but sometimes it's possible that she might be, or if it's a guy, he might be emotionally immature. So he asked me to talk about what are the signs that a person is emotionally immature, because he wanted to see if her behavior matches up with the signs that someone is emotionally immature. So I went online. As you know, I go do my research and I found a really good list. This is a person on Instagram. Her name is Sit with Sharon. Sit with Sharon. And Sit with Sharon is some type of a, therapist, counselor type individual. And she gave a list of emotional immaturity that I thought was a great list. So I want to talk to you guys about this list, because if you're with somebody who's emotionally immature, you have a really difficult road ahead of you. And some of you already know that. Like in his case, he's already going through the difficult road. And he wants me to talk a little bit about it and then tell him what I think he can do about his potentially emotionally immature 24-year-old. We're going to read this first and see if, based on what he said to me, if she really is emotionally immature. So first, let's do the introduction, and then we're going to get into this list. Hey, I'm Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. Stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to read out some positive comments, and please leave us likes, positive comments, pass this video on. Please engage, okay? And underneath this video, if you want to get a reading done, because I am a card shark, my email, my social media, my Teespring merchandise for Asking Aquarius, my PayPal in case you want to give a love donation, all of those things are underneath this video. So let's get to this list. It's a really good one. All right, Sharon, what you got for us? All right, so Sharon said, number one, she said that a person who's emotionally immature will believe that others can save them. And I agree with this 100%. When I was very emotionally immature, I would say emotionally, I don't even know what I used to call it something. I can't remember emotionally awkward. That's what I used to call it. When I was really emotionally awkward, I did want somebody to save me. A lot of the relationships that I got into was because I was looking for this person to save me. All the songs that, those love songs, they always like, this person is going to save you. They're going to come along and ride up on their white horse and they're going to save you from all of the bad things. And their love is going to be enough, I wish that was true, and that is what the TV and the movies promise us, but it's not true. Because even if you find the love of your life, nobody can save you. You have to be strong enough and engage in life. A person can be your companion through life. They can help you, but you have to show up. So nobody's going to come save you, You got to save yourself. And once I realized that, everything else changed. My whole life changed after I realized I could save myself. It was like, you can be your own hero. You have to be. Number two, they are defensive when others set boundaries. So if you're with somebody who's emotionally immature and you set a boundary because you see, like he mentioned this with the young lady, like sometimes he'll tell her, I really need some space, you know, like he'll want to not even go anywhere because he was like, I just don't like she likes to come over every day. Okay, after work she comes over, they spend time. So he's fine with her coming over. He even gave her a key. He's fine with that. But when she's there, she wants his undivided attention. And he's like, I need space. I need time. I might get a call from work. I might want to read a book. He likes to work out after he gets home from work. And he's like, she is constantly up under him, And he doesn't at first he didn't say anything because he was enjoying her time and he didn't want her to be angry with him or stop coming around. So now he's like, the other day he told her that he needs some time after work to do things, like maybe an hour or two, in his office or in between doing things with her, maybe, and he doesn't want her to get angry because sometimes she gets angry about it. And when he tried to talk to her about it, she got defensive and walked out. So here we are. He tried to set a boundary. She got angry about the boundary and left. I would have just been like, cool. You want some space? I like space too. How you want to do this? And we can make a plan. Maybe an hour or two after you get home, I'll work on something else. And then when you're done, we come together. There's a lot of ways to work that out. While he's working out, maybe you can be doing something else. So there's so many ways to work that out. But instead of working it out, she got defensive and snapped on him and walked out. Feeling controlled by your emotions. If your emotions control you, then you have a problem. You're definitely emotionally immature. And I'm telling you, I think a lot of us were emotionally immature at one time, even if we're not now. And you can remember a time when your emotions controlled you, when you couldn't control your temper, for example, or when you kept on sleeping with somebody who wasn't good for you because you just had this passion for them. That's emotional immaturity, because according to what they tell us, emotions make excellent servants but poor masters. If your emotions are running you to the point where you can't control them, then you have a problem. I have very intense emotions about everything. Everything. And when I was younger, I had almost no control over how something made me feel. And over time, I became capable and learned coping mechanisms and things like that on how to control my emotions. So I still feel them very deeply. They're still there, but I know how to not react to them. So if you are getting more emotionally mature, that should be something that should happen immediately. And he told me that she snaps, whenever something goes wrong, she storms out, she snaps out, she does not control her. He doesn't even think she tries to control them. He doesn't know for sure, but it doesn't look like it to him. So she's not controlling her emotions. She's allowing them to control her. Keeping score in relationships. He did not mention this, but I've seen this many times. When a person in a relationship is keeping score of what they do for you versus what you do for them, this is emotional immaturity. Now, mind you, a relationship is supposed to be reciprocal. If I'm doing things for you, you should be doing things for me, and bam, bam, bam. We got each other's back, everything is good. But if I'm counting, okay, well, I did this, and I did this, and I did this, so you should be doing this. If I'm counting it that carefully, then this is a person who's emotionally immature, and you have a real problem in this situation, because some of the times it doesn't add up. Sometimes you do more, sometimes they do more, you know? So if you're, if you're sitting there keeping score in the relationship, you're always going to find reasons to be upset whenever the balance goes in the other way. So this is definitely not a good idea, and it probably will lead to a lot of fractured relationships. Rigid thinking. Listen, we all have preferences, okay? We have preferences for what we like to eat, who we like to spend time with, what colors we like. We all have preferences, and there's nothing wrong with preferences. Preferences are great, but when your preferences go to the point where you can't even consider other people's thoughts or other people's ways of thinking, then at that point your thinking has become so rigid that you're not learning anymore. You're not learning new things. If your thinking is constantly rigid, if it's constantly one way, tunnel vision, you don't see anything else, you have stopped learning. Okay? Even when somebody wants to tell me something that I've made my mind up about, I will still listen to what they have to say. Now, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to change my mind, but I'm going to listen. And some of the times, almost every time, I might learn a little something. I might figure something I didn't know. It may or may not change my point of view, but a lot of times you will learn something. You never want to stop learning. Be a lifelong learner. Avoiding accountability. This is a big one. I see this a lot. If a person avoids accountability, then that means that, again, they are definitely emotionally immature, and they're going to be very difficult to have a relationship with. Every time he talks to her about her behavior, she blames it on him. If he says to her, well, I'm upset because, the other day she slammed the door and the mirror fell off the wall. Okay? The mirror wasn't expensive. It fell and it broke. So he said to her, like, this is my home. You're breaking my stuff. And she was like, well, if you hadn't did XYZ, then I wouldn't have slammed the door and the mirror wouldn't have fell. So that's not my fault. That's your fault. And I was like, what? Because if it had been me, I would have been like, you know what? You're right. My bad. I'll get you another mirror. I would have cleaned it up. I would have apologized, and I would have replaced his mirror. Instead, she refused to acknowledge that situation. I mean, she literally did it. She slammed the door and it fell, but she said it was his fault. And I was just like, wow, So this kind of person constantly avoids accountability for every action that they do. I had this same problem with Voldemort. Voldemort never admitted to anything. And I really do think he knew when he was wrong, because I don't think he was that slow, to be honest with you. I'm like, you know when you're wrong. You just pretending like you don't know. You know what I'm saying? When somebody doesn't know, I'm like, okay, and maybe you can work with that. Maybe you can discuss it. Maybe there can be changed behavior. But when the person knows what they're doing and refuses to acknowledge it, you can't work with that person. You can't even be friends with that person, because they're going to keep doing shit to you and blaming it on you, and they're never going to grow. They're never going to change. So when she, went off of, when she went off with him about the mirror, I was like, uh-oh. Not taking responsibility for yourself. So another thing that she does is she really likes expensive things. She likes Louis Vuitton. She's a very attractive girl, and she likes Louis Vuitton. She likes Coach. She likes different designer kind of things. She likes the finer things in life, as he put it. And she'll spend all her money and then want him to pay her cell phone bill, or want him to pay her cable bill, or want him to give her some money towards her rent. Now, mind you, if this is their arrangement, and if he's, like telling her, oh, I'm going to give this to you, I don't see anything wrong with that at all. But that's not what's happening here. She will spend all her money on stupid stuff that she doesn't need, and then expects him to bail her out. And if he doesn't bail her out, then she snaps on him. If he can't, let's say he can't. Let's say, that month he spent all his money, for example. And then she'll snap on him because he now can't help her. But my thing is, you should take responsibility for yourself. Don't spend all your money on Gucci when you know that the rent is due. I mean, these kind of things are just taking responsibility, but she's not. And then if he doesn't do it, she goes to somebody else. So it's reinforcing that idea in her mind that she doesn't have to take responsibility for herself. So as we can see so far, it's only 3 left, and she's hit a number of these. So she's probably definitely emotionally immature. Bullying others. People who are emotionally immature will bully other people. It's their way of making themselves feel better. You see it on the playground all the time. But when you're adults and you're still bullying each other and trolling people online and bullying your friends and bullying your girlfriend, it's a definite sign of emotional immaturity, because by now you should have grown out of that. Inability to connect deeply with others. She connects with him sexually very well, according to what I understand. She connects with him sexually. She connects with him intellectually. But when he wants to have conversations about, deep conversations, intense, because remember, Pisces, and she is Scorpio. Pisces are intense. They go deep. So when he wants to have a deep, philosophical, emotional, spiritual conversation, she really checks out. So the other day, he said they were, how you lay in bed and have pillow talk, and he was talking to her about something, and she said, what'd you say? I wasn't listening. So you're laying in bed with your significant other, and you guys are talking, and then you say, what? I wasn't listening? I was like, wow, that's really crazy. Okay? All right. Last one. Believing every conflict is personal. So no matter what, and he said these conflicts are usually on the outside, like with other people. So everything that happens on the outside, she takes personally. It doesn't matter what the conflict is. It can be a small conflict. It could be a conflict with a bus driver. It could be a conflict with her mother. No matter what the conflict is, she takes it personally. If somebody says something off color to another person, she takes it personally. If he doesn't answer her phone call, let's say she texts him and he's in the bathroom and he doesn't answer in like a timely fashion, she takes it personally. So I think that based on all of these, we can pretty much say, yeah, he's dealing with somebody who is emotionally immature. And I would not really attribute it all to her age. Her age is definitely a factor, because some of these things, more than likely, she will grow out of. But at the same time, I know people who are her age who would not do these things. So we have to look at both sides of this. So I think personally that he's dealing with somebody who's emotionally immature. Now, the second part of the question is, what should he do? Well, acknowledgement is the first part. You've acknowledged that there is an issue. You've acknowledged that she's emotionally immature. You're not going to get her to acknowledge that, which would be a wonderful thing. But the chances looking at this situation really aren't that high. So what would I do? I would seriously consider whether or not I want to be in this relationship. Because being in a relationship with somebody who's emotionally immature is always going to cause you problems. And your happiness, I feel like, is going to be compromised. So you can talk to her, you can try, you can do whatever it is that you want. But if it was me, I would start backing away. I would do what I call my exit plan. I would slowly but surely start backing away. Because even though you care about this person, you're in a really difficult situation. So, guys, what do you think about this? What do you think he should do about his emotionally immature Scorpio girlfriend? Please drop it in the comment section. Now, let's take a look at some positive comments. Monet Magnolia. Hey, Monet Magnolia. She says, I've never dated another Aquarius woman, and I'm up for the challenge. Hooah. Well, all I'm going to say is that if you find an Aquarius woman who's high vibrational, it could be a great relationship. Just move slow and get to know her. That's all I can say. Because when dealing with an Aquarius, it can be the greatest relationship you ever had. Aquarius and Aquarius can be the greatest relationship you ever had, or it can be the worst relationship you ever had according to astrology. So take your time with it and see. Maybe you'll meet a beautiful Aquarius woman. Now, this is from Shatu Balde. I think I pronounced that right. I'm not sure. If I didn't pronounce it right, please forgive me. And this one says, you deserve more views. I love your channel. Thank you so much. And if you think I deserve more views, please pass this video on to other people so they can check out this video too. Okay? All right, guys. It was great to chat with you, and come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.